Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Kirsty.
And this is our podcast covering the highs, lows and realities of parenting a child with neurodiversity.
Each week we'll be sharing updates from our lives and hearing from a variety of guests about their advice and experiences.
This is Love Needs No Words.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Love Needs No Words. This week we are chatting to Corrine Bryan. You might know Corrine by her Instagram name, Finch of Autism Life, where she shares about her neurodivergent family life. Corrine has been on an autism journey herself and received her autism diagnosis in December 2024. She is mum to 3 boys, Caleb, Roman and Hugo. Corrine, hi.
Hello.
We're so excited to have you on.
I know, I'm really excited to be here.
So you're, we want to know everything about your kind of autism diagnosis, which you got sort of came later in life for you. What sort of led you or inspired you, I suppose, to think about looking into an autism diagnosis for yourself?
It's a long journey, really, and it did stem from my children being diagnosed. And I always say to everyone, if I didn't have my children, I don't think I'd be in this position now. I'd probably still be a bit like all over the place. It was their diagnosis and then researching upon autism as you do. And I was really hyper-focused on learning as much as I could about autism and everything, that I came across adults and especially women, and it was kind of like a light bulb moment where it was like, oh, okay, I have like autistic siblings as well, and obviously autism runs in families, so it was kind of a moment of reality that just hit. And I can't pinpoint the moment it kind of felt like, oh my gosh, you know, I could be autistic here, but I think it kind of spurred me on then to start maybe understanding myself a lot more.
Yeah, you talk loads about your 3 boys on your Instagram. So Caleb's your eldest.
He is, yeah.
He the first one that you kind of started going through the journey with, or?
Yeah. So he showed pretty early signs around about 11-12 months where we had like regression. And obviously because I had siblings growing up, autistic brothers, I just kind of knew what to look out for. So it weren't a moment of, oh my gosh, like why is he regressed, what's going on? I kind of thought maybe he is autistic. Around 12 months I rang my health visitor and I was like, I think he could be autistic. He's got delays. He's doing very repetitive movements. I remember him crawling, and he would crawl and then he'd twist and then he'd crawl and twist, and he would do that for a good like half an hour non-stop. And at the time it was just like really cute, really funny, but now it's like, oh, that was, him repetitive movements is, sensory needs and everything else. And yeah, so we called the health visitor and she came, saw him and put him on the pathway, and he was diagnosed by 2, which was really quick. I think a lot of people, when I say he was diagnosed at 2, are still very shocked that he was diagnosed at 2 because, waiting list and everything else. But that was just before COVID. So I feel like if it was a bit later, maybe it would have been a lot longer. And because we got him under the CDC and the paediatrician like at 18 months, it was kind of he was seen quicker. And then I've got my 6-year-old Roman, who is still on the pathway for his autism diagnosis, and compared to Caleb, it's been a very different journey. In fact, I feel like it's polar opposite journeys. Like Caleb's so much easier, whereas Roman we've had to fight harder, and because he is high masking, it's been a lot more difficult, really.
Your youngest, Hugo.
Yeah, so I think you get to a point where when you've got 2 that are autistic, you're always gonna look at any more children you have and think, I wonder if they are. But the older he's getting, the more we're very aware of it. And me and my partner are very like upfront with the school. We're very much so like, he runs in families, is probably autistic, and they do like nod along with us. Whether they agree or not is another thing. But he presents very differently, and we think he could be ADHD and autistic, but we're unsure at the moment. I mean, he's in nursery, so he's still very young, but there's traits, so we're kind of just keeping an eye and getting him where he needs to be when school finally see, which is a nightmare.
It's really interesting what you say about your brothers having autism. You've obviously grown up around that and you know what to look for. That obviously helped you, I guess, recognize it in Caleb, because 2 is really, really early, and that's amazing that he has had his diagnosis by 2.
Yeah, and in a way, it does make me then feel sorry for the people that, you know, their children are on this longer journey. Obviously, we're going through it with Roma, so I totally understand that. And he's in a specialist provision. We were very quick. I remember it's this is even like more bizarre as to why everything happened so early. But when he started nursery and he was 3, 4, and I went to see the Senko, and I was like, "We've got an EHCP plan," and she looked at me like, what? Like, as if to say, how did you get that? And lucky for us, it was done through the Child Development Centre, and because of that, we were able to get him that support sooner. And I know that's such a bizarre story with the way, you know, the world is now and how hard it is to get these accommodations for our children. And then obviously, because I've had autistic brothers, I think it just came so much quicker to me. And then obviously my journey is very different because that just came out of nowhere, really.
Did it help in a way, do you think, because of your brother and his diagnosis, to kind of come to terms with it all sooner, or did you still find it quite difficult?
I think even I'm still, because it's only been like 3, 4 months, it's still very early for me to feel content with it. I know it sounds a bit bizarre, because I'm very much so like, you know, if you're autistic before you're diagnosed, like the traits are there, you know, you won't get to the point of seeking a diagnosis if you didn't see the traits within yourself. So I was very much so like openly saying that I am autistic, I just don't have a diagnosis yet. And I did think like, once I've got a diagnosis, I'll be fine. It'll just be like, I'm carrying on. But actually, it did throw me back a lot. And I didn't, I'd say the rest of December, it just felt very much like I was restarting my life again, like restarting in this new body, this new person. And I think it's a lot of processing who you are now, and allowing yourself to say, do you know what, I'm allowed to feel these things, I'm allowed to collect McDonald's toys if that's what I want to do, and I'm allowed to dance around like an idiot. If that makes me happy, then who's stopping me?
Yeah, that's really. And do you think you found your diagnosis easier than processing your children's diagnosis? Because I don't know about you, I know Kirsty's the same. I kind of just went on this mission to fix it, and so you're so caught up in fixing it and finding solutions that you do process it, but you're so busy trying to sort everything out. But when it's yourself, it's like you really do have to process it.
Yeah, I found, in a way, I did find the boys easier. Obviously, putting in support for like schooling, and because they obviously have high, like my oldest has higher care needs. That was more, I think that was more difficult. The whole, you know, filling out forms, and you know the way society, other people are, and you know that mama bear coming out when Joe Bloggs down the road is like, you know, giving him tuts and looking at him like he's a piece of rubbish. I feel more like angry and determined then.
Yeah.
Compared to myself, I think I'm kind of, it's a hard one. I think in a way it's kind of the same, but with my kids, it's more, I'm putting extra in for sure.
That's really interesting though, what you said about the fact that you'd been referring to yourself as autistic but not diagnosed. So you'd obviously, like, you know, you were comfortable with the concept of being autistic, but then once you were diagnosed, you've found yourself having to go through a totally different journey, I guess, with it. Because I think I'd be similar to you. I think, okay, well, I'll just kind of carry on the trajectory that I was on before, but obviously it feels quite different.
It's just seeing it, I think, on paper, you know, and having that validation there just feels more intense. And I always talk about, like, when you accept that you're autistic as an adult, you do go through this thing, it's skill regression. So like, in a way, I'm probably struggling more now than I did my whole life. You know, I'm 30 now, I've got on with it. I'm struggling now more because I'm on this unmasking, being myself journey. It's because I've changed my mindset. Everything's coming out. So like past traumas and the struggles that I've been hiding, which I didn't know I was hiding because I was so used to this pretend person, if so to say. Now I'm past that and I'm being more me and more free. It's kind of opened up a lot more. Like my sensory difficulties have gone like really sky high, and I'm really struggling in certain places and certain noises. But on the flip side, I'm kind of feeling like I can relax more and feed off energy of others. I'm really big on energy with people, and I just, you know, embracing the positive people around me. And it's just, it's just really nice to do that with my children as well.
And I guess it explains so much. It's interesting, as you're talking, my husband's done the same, where he's completely unmasked whilst we've been together. So it's like I'm sort of being introduced to someone that I didn't know when I first met him, but it's so nice that he can now be himself. So he's always collect Lego and Pokemon cards, and it's been this massive thing. And now he's like, now it explains so much, like why I'm so hyper focused on it, and grabbing my hand now in a really busy place. He never used to do that because he'd pretend that it wasn't anything that bothers him, where now he'll do it. But I think it's great that you've got to a point where you can just be yourself.
And it's you know, I've gone through the initial really struggling with it part, and I'd say it's only been like the past month that I've been just relaxed, like my shoulders are all relaxed, and I just feel really content in life. And I was probably the first time I've ever said this, but I'm actually proud to be autistic. Like, I am proud to have this brain that thinks differently, the way I feels differently, and I'm proud of it. I think it's something that no adult or child or person should be ashamed of.
But your children will pick up on that energy that you're talking about, that's so important. And it is like your children will grow up knowing that you feel proud of being autistic, and they'll feel proud of themselves as well. I guess it must be so difficult for so many children to kind of have that kind of advocacy in their lives.
No, I appreciate that. I'm really big on like talking so openly and honestly, and with Roman, bless him, even though he's not diagnosed yet, and we do talk about autism all the time, and he'll kind of like yesterday, it was so funny, just for no reason at all, he just sat there and he went, autism, it runs in families. And I was like, yes, Roman, it does. And
I love that.
And he'll be like, and he'll talk about his anxieties, and you know, we're very open about it. And I think we're just a crazy family, really. that's literally the answer.
The best families are, though, aren't they? What's the unmasking like been like, really? Like, what was it like for you as a child? Actually, that's probably more important as a question. You said that you had to mask quite a bit without maybe even knowing it. What in hindsight, looking back now, what was that like?
I think predominantly teenage years, only because I can't really remember my childhood. I can remember kind of up to teenage years, but it was kind of like, in my friendship groups, I always felt like I was there but not in the group. Like I was just the one that would, you know, like the follower, like the little one hanging around the back. And at the time I generally thought, you know, I'm part of this crew, but then I would struggle with the friendships, and I always felt like people didn't like me. And I remember at the time just thinking like, I want to be friends with these people, I want to be like everyone else. I used to copy everyone's hairstyles, I used to wear my makeup the same. I think my mum used to get annoyed by me going, so and so's wearing this, now I have to wear it. And I never had my true identity. And I think the friendships thing growing up was probably the biggest masking part of my life. And what would happen is I'd come home from school and me and my mum would just butt heads, and I remember having breakdowns. And I talk about this a lot on social media, like the depression. I say depression, it probably was meltdowns, but I went through that stage at around 16. You know, the doctors were like, it's depression, you've got social anxiety, you've got depression. And in hindsight now, looking back, it was actually, I'd come home from school and I'd crash because I'd just been masking and being like everyone else all day. When you're at home, obviously it's your safe space. The way our kids, you know, are a bit more crazy when they're at home as to at school, it's the same sort of thing. And I just remember absolutely coming home and everything being too much. And at the time I really was wondering why I felt like this. Like there was no explanation. I was just so angry with myself for being so angry when I got home. That's probably one of the most distinctive parts that I remember of like masking when I was younger.
And the exhaustion that comes with that as well, isn't it? Like the whole masking thing, it's so exhausting because you're putting on this act all day long. So there's no wonder that you came home and reacted like that.
Yeah, like masking. And obviously I've researched on it since. I didn't even know masking was a thing until you know, when you research your kids and then you come across predominantly females. I say predominantly because it's not always females, but mostly females and masking. And yeah, it's masking actually can cause a lot of trauma. If you've masked your whole life, there's always going to be negative impacts of that, because your brain is used to being a certain way. Your brain's used to masking. You start on masking, that's why everything goes and then you're relearning everything. But yeah, it used to tire me out. I remember coming home from school and I'd just sleep, and then I'd be up all night, but then I'd sleep straight away, and my mum would get annoyed with me, but I was just so exhausted. It was just a lot.
It goes to show why it's so important that we understand more about women with autism, girls with autism, so that you know we're not facing this kind of challenges later down the line when 100%. And like you mentioned it earlier actually about that like light bulb moment, but so many people are having it in families, I think, when the children are obviously getting diagnosed, because we know more about it. Like, I've spoken about it before, but I genuinely believe that my son wouldn't have got an autism diagnosis like 10, 15, 20 years ago. The way that he like, you know, his behavior, so his communication, basically, it just wouldn't have got picked up, I don't think, as autism. So I think, for sure, he would have been missed. But that light bulb moment, like when you became aware of your child's neurodivergence and then your own, what's it been like kind of processing your own, but also having to advocate for your children, school and EHCPs and everything else, and even just getting a diagnosis? You've been on this dual journey, having to do it at the same time.
Yeah, it's especially when I'm having to advocate at school, and you know, autistic me is like, I really don't want to be confronting people because I really don't want to feel like an annoyance, but I push through that for the sake of obviously my children's needs, and that's what I'm passionate about, is my children getting everything they need and having a happy life. So it's very hard to navigate how I'm feeling with the kids. Like, we all kind of clash at home. Like, if the kids are so I'm really pro stimming and pro letting out any sort of like feelings that you want to, and depending on how I'm feeling at the moment, if the kids are repeating sounds, I can be like, please go, like in my head I'm thinking, please go away, and then especially when they're like right by me, and it's just, it's a lot. But again, like I said, I just push I do, unfortunately, I mean, it's not really a good thing to do, I don't think, but I do push my own aside to focus on the children's. But then I also speak to the kids openly about my own, and I'll say, Mummy needs some quiet time because I'm really struggling with the noise. And it's that opening them conversations, because that's what's important.
Is that how your Instagram started?
So my Instagram's, it's a very interesting story. It's been, so I've had this page for 6 years now. Yeah, just over 6 years. And it started off as like a page that a family could see pictures of Roman when he was born. So there's literally nothing about autism on there right at the beginning. Just pictures of Roman. And then we kind of went on to Caleb's diagnosis, and my content was fully around that. Then Roman's journey, so all about that again. And recently, I'd say the past year, it's been about my own journey. And each step of the way, I've connected with like different people. So like when it was about my kids, I'd connect with a lot of SEND moms, and I still speak to lots of them now. And then now I'm like engaging with a lot of autistic adults and a lot of young adults that are like uni students and stuff that actually relate to what I'm going through, which is really nice. And it's really nice to receive messages and comments of people saying, you know, you've helped me go for my own diagnosis, which is it's mind-boggling to me, like to be able to support people. It's lovely. So yeah, it's 6 years of absolutely random stuff all together, and now we're here. And I'm just really proud to be in the community and to do what I'm able to do on social media.
That'll be invaluable for people, because this is one of the reasons why we started this, was so that other people didn't feel alone, who were kind of, you know, going through the journey of maybe a child's been diagnosed or whatever, and because it can feel so lonely at times. So for people to find, and this, I guess that's one of the best things about social media. Like, that's kind of what I did first, if I'm honest. When I first found out about Mags, I literally took to took to Instagram to try and find people that I was like, okay, they might be like me, they might be like me, just to, I don't know, is it a connection thing? I'm not sure, but so yeah, that made a massive difference to people, and probably why your page has been so successful.
Oh, thank you. It's I'd say the past years it's grown quite a bit. It's a hard one for me because I don't like talking so positively about. I like numbers. Don't get me wrong. I love looking at the numbers growing, and I'm really grateful to be able to have that platform and do some amazing things on it. And I've done some amazing things on it. But I'd say it's what motivates me. I think the moments that hit me and that I do feel proud is when, like I said, when people have messaged me saying, what you said here has helped me do this, or thank you for supporting with with my child and what they're going through. And it's just that to me, like, I could have 10 followers, and if someone said that to me, that would just be everything. And that's what motivates me, and I think keeps me very grounded, for sure.
It's also funny.
Oh my god, some of your videos are so funny.
Yeah, so
I do like so the comedy aspect is really weird because that's just come on recently since the unmasking stuff. So I don't know whether I've just unmasked and become like, who cares? Funny. Let's just be funny. But I like to kind of throw some sort of funniness into it because, everyone needs a laugh here and there, don't we? I think we're all kind of in a day and age where things are a lot more serious in the world. We need a bit of laughter.
Yeah. I was laughing earlier at the one with the legs.
Legs.
How do I make my leg longer?
I don't even know where that one came from, I'll be honest. It was just so random.
It cracks me up.
I was going to say, how do you come up with the ideas for your videos?
Oh gosh, my meme ones are my favourite, and my meme videos do really well actually. So I kind of try and do one every 2 days or one every evening. I think that I like using the funny, I don't know, film quotes that you can get on CapCut and put them in and make it relatable to SEN or neurodivergent adults, and I think it goes down very well. I don't know, I just kind of, it's really I never plan anything unless it's like I have like carousels where it's like things I'd want you to know as an autistic person. Obviously that takes me a bit longer because I have to edit that, but most of it's just so last minute and random. And poor Luke, bless him, he'll just be there doing whatever he's doing on his phone, and I'll just be like, just pop into the kitchen, I've got an idea, and he just leaves me to it, and he can hear me like feeling, and then I'll come in, I'm like, oh, that one might be a good one, and he's it's so random and last minute. Like, I have no plans or anything, but it seems to go down well, so that's all that matters, really, isn't it?
What's the one that you've done that sort of sticks with you as being your favourite one?
Oh, I'd say when I interviewed Gareth Gates. I don't think I'll ever top that one. That weren't funny. That was just an interview. I'd say that, I know it's like so random because it's Gareth Gates, but it's just my first ever interviewing of someone, and I'm very proud of it actually because I was very nervous beforehand, and it was a standout moment for sure.
There's been quite a few people that have come on with Instagram pages, and they've said that as much as their kind of audience or followers have got so much from you, you've actually got so much from them as well. Have you found that just really helpful?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I would not be where I am now if I didn't have the support of everyone else and look to everyone else's content. Especially with this journey and things, like I would not be where I am now without those that support me or looking at other people's content and getting advice from them. Like how people have got advice from me, I get advice from everyone else as well.
Yeah, it feels like a community, doesn't it?
Oh, it's so much community. It's very weird how online you can have this community of people that you've never met or may never meet because they live miles away, but you just feel so connected. I've got one friend, she lives in New Zealand, and we just talk a load, and I'm just like, it's crazy because I'm never going to meet you. I mean, you never know, strange things happen, but you never know, never. But it's so lovely just to be able to connect with so many people.
So you said that life is crazy in your household. What does a day look like in the Finch house?
Oh gosh, what does a day look like? So if it's a school day, we'll do school day because they're a little bit more routine. So we get up whatever time the boys decide to get up. Great story. Me and my partner, we don't share a bed because our kids don't sleep.
I think a lot of people can
yeah,
relate to
a
that.
lot can
Yeah, you
relate to
probably
this.
find
don't
that a
worry.
lot. Caleb gets up literally around 10, 11 o'clock and he goes to sleep downstairs on the sofa bed. So that's a whole other story. Obviously, one of us have to be down here with him. So the other person's on the sofa. Then the other person's in the bed who has to co-sleep with our 4-year-old who won't sleep by himself. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we usually get up around 6:30. The kids have been up for hours, do our breakfast, whatever that may be, get the kids ready. We're usually late because none of us have got time. Routine, like we're just still a bit crazy with time. And then we usually get them to school. And then I just sit and run into the kitchen and do my videos, like I said, I don't know. That's pretty much it. Then pick the kids up. Yeah. It's boring. Okay, I don't have a very no, it's,
sounds great.
Yeah. It's lots of fun.
Are the boys at the same school, did you say?
So Caleb is in a specialist provision and Roman and Hugo are at the same school, but Hugo's still half days until September, so the timings are very off. Yeah, we have to wait for Caleb's taxi and then go get Roman, so it's a little bit, it's all over the place.
Yeah, I can imagine. So Roman's in mainstream school, is he?
Yeah.
We always say, don't we, Kirsty? We don't know how they hardly sleep, but they get through a full day.
I have no idea.
Just blows my mind.
Honestly, Caleb, when I came down this morning, because me and Luke, we have to alternate nights, otherwise we'd just go insane. Luke was like, yeah, Caleb's been up since midnight. And I was like, oh, is he? And he's been up all day. Absolutely fine. Did football at school. Yeah. I just don't know how he does it. I really don't.
The amount of energy.
I know.
Unbelievable. You just hope that as they kind of go through their life, they get a little bit older, that they might sleep that little.
Yeah. You hold out for the teenagers when you have to force them away.
I know. And everyone keeps telling you that teenagers sleep and you can't get them up. And I think, I just don't know if I'm going to go through this. It doesn't
you just don't know, do you?
right now.
Okay.
But you never know. There'll be that moment and you'll think, what happened?
Yeah.
It'll be so out of the ordinary. What's been the sort of standout moment for you so far in all of this journey?
I'd say probably when I did the Neurodiversity Celebration Week panel. In terms of social media, I'd say that's probably the wow moment. In life, I would say my diagnosis, 100%. You know, finding myself at 30 is, that's my little quote I like saying. Finding myself at 30 is just, it's a moment. I think that's probably the highlight of my life for sure.
Yeah. Have you just got the report back through? Did I see on your Instagram that they just sent that back?
Yeah, I had the report which says literally what they concluded from their assessment, and it's I'm smiling, I'm like laughing inside because it's interesting reading about yourself. I think there's some things that they'd said on there that I even turned around to Luke and I was like, do I do that? And he was like, yeah.
Oh wow.
And then you start thinking, oh my gosh, I need to calm down a bit, but it is what it is. Like, you know, this diagnosis to me was so important and validating, so yeah, I'm happy.
And what does Luke say about it all?
Luke's just pleased that I won't stop going on about needing this diagnosis anymore. I don't think, like, I've been going on about it for 2 years.
Talk about now?
Yeah. Well, Luke's on the pathway himself, so he's getting a little bit annoyed now for waiting. I was fast tracked. I spoke about this before. I was fast tracked due to my celiac and which is my real struggles with it, my health and stuff. So they can do that at a last resort. So I was very lucky that I was waiting for another 2 years and they literally got me in like 2 weeks after. And Luke, bless his heart, he wants his now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just happy to see me happy. I think that's lovely. Yeah.
I can imagine seeing obviously the positives that it's given you. He probably feels like he wants to go through that as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot like me, he's questioning his childhood and his life and diagnoses he had when he was a kid that he now believes were misdiagnoses, and I can see the traits in him, and I think everyone around us can see the traits, so I'm pretty sure he'll be diagnosed too.
There's a link, isn't there, between, or I believe, you can tell me if I'm wrong, between gastro illnesses and such like and autism?
It's not always, but there is a high link between, because the brain and the gut are linked, so whatever's going on up there affects there and vice versa. A lot of people I know that are autistic have celiac or have gut issues or other gastro issues, and to be honest, I haven't read much into it. I probably will now I've said it. I'm not hyper focused later, right? This is what I'm doing.
Sorry.
Thank you for my evening of entertainment, putting that in my head. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there is a strong link for sure.
Yeah. You've been nominated as well for the National Diversity Awards.
Oh,
that's amazing.
So good.
I know, it's madness, isn't it? It's nice though, because when you get nominated and people vote for you, you can see what they say. So when you've got with your votes, I've got like 28 votes now, so I'm like,
that's great.
I probably won't be a finalist or win, because there are a lot of people that will get nominated, like celebrities. There's people that do amazing things, but just seeing those, like I said previously, about like what people say and that is the best thing ever. I'll take that over anything. I'm proud.
You should be. It's an amazing achievement. Amazing.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
What advice do you have for parents at the start of their journey with children with potential additional needs? What advice would you have for them?
I would say trusting your gut instinct is important with this, and to not let anyone fob you off as well, and stand your ground, because I think we get a lot of other professionals or the school or other people, family as well, because family can be quite difficult, saying one thing and making you doubt yourself. And as soon as you start doubting yourself, that's when things will go down. I always say to everyone, literally just go with your gut always. Yeah, gut's always right. Always. It's for me anyway.
And just to add to that, because we often ask, like, you know, what people's thoughts are on their parenting, but for you, it's been a bit of a journey for yourself as well, obviously going through your autism diagnosis. What would you give any advice to adults who are thinking, oh wow, I can really see traits in myself now, my children are being diagnosed, should I go for a diagnosis, should I bother, should I just wait? What would you say?
Personally, I would say that go for a diagnosis was the best decision I ever made. But I would also say that it's your choice too. In terms of wanting to understand yourself and live your life fullest, I'd just say absolutely go for it, and don't be ashamed. I think it's such a stigma against adults going for an autism diagnosis, because a lot of people still believe it's just children, and then they forget these children become adults.
Yeah, for sure. And also not about what you read, because there's a lot of stuff, I think, in the media at the moment that's really, really shaming people for going for diagnosis, or even daring to talk about it and saying that they might have autism or they might have ADHD. There's just so much narrative around, oh, there's just so many diagnoses, there's too many people being misdiagnosed, overdiagnosed, and that's so harmful for people when they actually have got to the point where you know, you got to
where brave enough to do it,
where you think, oh, hang on a minute, there's something going on here that explains a lot, and that's a process to get to in itself. And then, you know, people will go, no.
Also the PIP thing as well, like I have to add that in, because there are so many adults that have disabilities that need that, and with them cuts and everything else, I think that also opens a can of worms for ableism from randomers from the internet that go, oh, these adults claiming, and it's just really sad. I think I think media, you know, news is trying to push this agenda on us, but what it takes is for people that have pages like myself and other adult advocates, and even children, like autism parent advocates, to push against that. And the more we speak, the more we'll push against it.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us today. It's been so good to hear your journey, and obviously hear kind of what led you to it, and hear a little bit about your boys as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me.
And thank you for your page as well, because it will be supporting so many people at the start of their own journey. So thank you.
I appreciate it.